Good evening, everyone. Thanks for your patience. We're a few minutes late. We did have some technical issues which seem to have been addressed. Thank you to staff for doing so. I declare the ordinary council meeting of Tuesday, the 18th of February 2025 open at a slightly later time of 6:06 p.m. We start, of course, by acknowledging the Whadjuk people, the traditional custodians of the land, and we also pay our respects to elders, both past and present. May I ask everyone here this evening to make sure your mobile phones are turned off or at least on silent for the duration of the meeting, and this meeting is being live streamed via the city's YouTube channel. Council meetings are public meetings and any information you provide shall be recorded and may be publicly accessible. The council chambers are not a parliament and parliamentary privilege does not apply. Elected members and staff risk being held personally liable if their comments are found to be defamatory or breach any duty of confidentiality. And statements made during council meetings are solely those of the person making them. Nothing expressed at a council meeting can be attributed to the City of Canning unless it is adopted by a resolution of council. Elected members and employees must disclose any financial, proximity or partiality interest they may have in an item on the agenda and declare that interest at the commencement of the meeting or, at the very latest, when the item is about to be discussed. And financial proximity and impartiality interests are to be disclosed in accordance with the Local Government Act. Elected members disclosing a financial or proximity interest must not participate in that part of the briefing relating to their interest and must leave the meeting for the duration of the item. The confirmed minutes of a council meeting are the official record of that council meeting. Verbatim minutes are not required. Nevertheless, the city publishes a recording of the meeting. Recording of the council meetings must not be copied, republished or reproduced without the city's express permission. At item 2, attendances. Apologies tonight, there are none. Approved leave of absence. We do have a approved leave of absence for Councillor Singh, who has previously been approved a leave of absence from the 10th of December 2024 to the 22nd of April 2025. For the sake of the record, Councillor Singh has chosen to attend this meeting this evening. At item 3, disclosures of interest. CEO, may I ask you whether or not we've had any disclosures in relation to the agenda?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I've received no declarations of either a partiality interest or financial interest for tonight's meeting.
Thank you. At item 4, announcement by the presiding member without discussion. There are none. Reports of delegates without discussion. Does any elected member wish to present a delegate report? Thank you. We'll move on to public question time. In relation to item 6.1, responses to previous questions taken on notice, there are none. I'm going to open public question time. The time now is 6:09 p.m. The time set aside is 15 minutes, which may be extended if necessary. For recording purposes, please state your name and address and then proceed to ask your question. If an answer cannot be provided at tonight's meeting, the question will be taken on notice and an answer will be provided at the next ordinary council meeting. In accordance with policy ADO2, members of the public who have registered their questions with the city's administration shall be called upon in the order in which registrations were received, and written questions will precede verbal questions. The city does have a number of written questions tonight. They're from Jodie Fagan. The first question is directed to Director Warren Bowe, the Director of Infrastructure and Environment. Is the city required to notify residents that they may be affected by proposed work being carried out? Director?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. It is custom and practice for the city to advise its residents and stakeholders prior to the undertaking of any city works. These could include roadworks, tree removals, footpath works, playground renewals and the like.
Thank you, Ms Fagan. Second question was, does the city have a required timeline for which they are supposed to respond to residents' requests? Director?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, the city has documented service levels and response times in relation to various inquiries submitted through our customer relationship module, requested. With regard to the specific requested case, submitted by Ms Fagan regarding invasive tree roots. We have a KPI to respond within 10 working days. I understand there was a previous requested case raised by Ms Fagan on a similar matter. We're happy, we undertook the works there which related to tree pruning and did some investigative works on the tree roots at that time, but we'll be happy to revisit that and contact Ms Fagan as soon as possible, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms Fagan. That's on the public record. Do we have any further questions from members of the public before I close public question time? None. Thank you. I shall close public question time now, the time being 6:11 p.m. Councillors, we move to item 7 on tonight's agenda, which is the confirmation of minutes. And these are for the ordinary council minutes. The meeting held back on the 10th of December in 2024. The officer's recommendation appears on page 2 of tonight's agenda and is also on screen. Can I have a mover, please, for the confirmation of the minutes from that meeting? Happy to move those. Oh, thank you, Councillor Seconder. Councillor Bain, thank you. Councillors, let's put that to the vote, please. I just wanted to just note that in part 3, the recommendation, as you can see on screen, is that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on that date be confirmed. In part 3 of the 3B of the resolution CC 032 of 24, that report was titled Submissions Received Local Public Notice on Proposed Disposal of 96 Barbican Street in Shelley. That should be corrected by replacing Fife Avenue with Tyre Avenue. In part 3B, and that would then become, B would become in maintenance of a native waterwise landscape garden at the end of the cul-de-sac at Tyre Avenue in Riverton, full stop. Thank you, Councillor Second. Thank you, Councillor Bain. Let's put the item to the vote.
The motion to confirm the minutes from the December OCM has been carried unanimously with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. At item 8, receiving of petitions, presentations and deputations. At item 8.1, petitions, we do have a petition. It's PET 001 of 25. The report title is Petition, Residents of Mesa Place, Concern for Access Point to Metrolink Rail Corridor. The recommendation is that the petition be received by Council and referred to the CEO for action in accordance with clause 4.7 in brackets 3 in brackets D of the City of Canning Standing Orders Local Law. The recommendation appears on screen. It also appears on page 4 of the agenda. Can I have a mover, please, the item be received and referred to the CEO for action? Councillor Page, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Kunze. Councillor Page, have you got anything you'd like to add? Thank you, councillors. We might.
Have to hold the button down.
We're having some issues. I think when you speak, you may have to actually hold it down to speak. I think we might just put the item through to the vote.
Yeah.
Thank you, councillors.
The motion for petition PET 00125 has been carried with all 10 in favour.
Thank you, Governor. At 8.2 on the agenda, presentations are none this evening. We do have a deputation at 8.3 in tonight's agenda. The deputation has been approved for Altus planning and it's regarding PD 001 of 25, Scheme Amendment number 17 to Local Planning Scheme number 42, proposed additional use medical centre number 12, lot 210, Robbins Place in Shelley. I'll just ask who is making the deputation. Hello, good evening, how are you? Can I ask you please to step forward to the microphone here, just introduce yourself to the council and then please make your deputation. You have up to 10 minutes.
Can we leave that on, Casey?
Do I have to hold it?
I think we can control it from here. I'll just see there we go, I think we've got it. Go ahead, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, elected members and administrative staff. My name is Lillian Yek. I'm a town planning consultant from Altus Planning and our office address is at 68 Canning Highway in South Perth. I'm here today to speak on behalf of our client, who is the landowner and operator at number 12 Robbins Place in Shelley. We would like to speak in support of the officer's recommendation to initiate and adopt for the purpose of advertising the proposed scheme amendment number 17 to local planning scheme number 42. This is item PD 00125 on the agenda today. The purpose of this scheme amendment is simply to allow for the additional use as a medical centre, which under the land use definition of the scheme allows for 3 or more health practitioners on site at any one time. However, the intention of the applicant is only to allow for a total of 3 health practitioners on site at any one time. This is an addition of 1 more health practitioner than the existing approved consulting rooms used on the site. As a bit of a background, the subject site has been operating as an optometry since 1993. Subsequent upgrades and approval to the site, especially with the recent works in 2023, has ensured that the site meets current building and planning standards. This includes the provisions of sufficient car parking and bicycle bays to meet the current planning requirement, which can potentially allow for 3 health practitioners. Practically, this means, should the scheme amendment and subsequent planning application for 3 health practitioners be approved, no additional work or development will be required on the site, as the existing base and building sufficiently meet the planning requirement to accommodate all of the 3 health practitioners. From a planning perspective, the proposed scheme amendment is beneficial as the outcome will have minimal impact to the surrounding development, but rather it provides an essential medical service to the growing aged care population in the immediate area. This is beneficial as there is minimal medical services provider within the Shelley residential area, particularly to the north of the Leach Highway. The subject site also benefits from having high visibility from Leach Highway, but with no direct access. This is ideal in minimizing direct traffic impact onto Leach Highway, which is a primary distributor network consistent with the main road hierarchy criteria. Finally, in response to the queries raised during the agenda briefing, in particular the query raised regarding current operations on site, we would like to submit that the current approval for consulting rooms allow for not more than 2 health practitioners on site at any one time. This means a number of health practitioners can operate on the site so long as it is properly managed and does not have more than 2 at a time. Currently, there is 1 optometrist, 1 chiropractor, 1 psychiatrist operating. The psychiatrist is only open for appointment 1 day out of the week, being on Thursdays. The chiropractor, on the other hand, operates at varying hours on most days, except on Thursdays when the psychiatrist is on site. A copy of the detailed operating hours for each individual has been provided to the city. It is submitted that to date, the landowner, being the optometrist, has diligently managed schedule and timing of other practitioners. The second query that we have was regarding parking on verge. From the planning perspective, again, there is no issue with car parking requirement as it fully meets the requirement for a medical center use of 3 practitioners. As to whom and why parking at verge occur, this is beyond the control of the landowner, as more often than not, they do not belong to the clients attending the site. To sum it all up, the proposed scheme amendment for a medical center use limited to 3 health practitioners at any one time can be supported, as there will be no adverse amenity impact arising from the amendment. Rather, it will be providing a much-needed service to the local community around it. Should the scheme amendment be approved and subject to subsequent planning approval, it is not likely that any additional works will need to be undertaken. We would like to say that we fully support the officer's recommendation and respectfully ask to consider the initiation and adoption of the proposed scheme amendment number 17 for advertising to allow for the medical center use. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming in this evening. We appreciate your deputation. Thank you. At item 9, application for leave of absence, there is a application tonight. Councillor Tucek has requested a leave of absence from the 1st of May to the 30th of June 2025. The recommendation is on page 4 of tonight's agenda. Can I have a mover, please, for that item? Councillor Kunze, thank you. A seconder? Councillor Secon. I don't propose there's a need for discussion. I propose we put the matter to the vote unless there's anybody wish to speak against it. Thank you, councillors. Let's put the item to the vote.
The motion for a leave of absence for Councillor Tucek has been carried with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. Governance at item 10, questions by members of which due notice has been given without discussion. There are none. At item 11, similarly, there are no items brought forward for the convenience of those in the public gallery. At item 12, reports of committee meetings, there are none. I'm now going to hand over the conduct of the meeting to the CEO, Michael Littleton, who will conduct the election of the Deputy Mayor. And I'll ask the CEO just to explain the whole scenario, and he will run through the rules. CEO, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Following the resignation of Amanda Spencer-Teo, effective from the 12th of February 2025, Council is required to elect a new Deputy Mayor. Nominations are to be submitted in writing on the form provided and lodged with the CEO prior to the closure of nominations. If a councillor is nominated by another council member, the nomination is not to be accepted unless the nominee has advised the CEO, orally or in writing, that they are willing to be nominated for the office. I have received properly constituted and endorsed nominations from Councillor Mark Bain, Councillor Ben Kunze and Councillor Joanne Page. So I've received those already. I'll now call for any further nominations for the position of Deputy Mayor. With no further nominations being received, I now close nominations for the Deputy Mayor, at the time being 6:23 p.m. Candidates will be invited to address Council for no more than 3 minutes in support of their nomination. This will be done both in alphabetical order, but also in the order of receipt of the nominations. The process will commence with Councillor Bain, will be followed by Councillor Kunze, and Councillor Page will close it out and bring it home. So without any further ado, Councillor Bain, I invite you to address Council.
Shall I hold it down, Karen? Okay. Thank you, Mr CEO. I'd like to start by thanking Amanda for her service and great contribution to Council as both a councillor and Deputy Mayor. Speaking about myself doesn't come easily to me. I trust my actions, behaviour and dedication to the service of our community speaks for itself. I hope that my fellow councillors have seen how passionate I am about helping our residents, my preparedness, my motions and amendments to improve Canning, and the respect I show you all and the city staff. I've put myself up for your consideration tonight because I believe the time is right. Residents have asked me when I'm out and about when I was going to put my hand up to be the Deputy Mayor, and encouraged me to do so. At the time, I didn't think I had the experience and that there was more to learn. I waited patiently and supported my colleagues in the position while I gained the required knowledge. After more than 5 years serving on Council, I believe I now have the experience. I'm ready to go. Behind the scenes, I work hard to help community groups and residents. For example, I deliver the City of Canning report at the bi-monthly Wilson Residents and Ratepayers meetings. I put together a detailed report containing all the latest information and updates from the City and answer questions and follow up on any issues of concern. I have only missed one WIRA meeting since 2019, and that was at the request of my ward colleague at the time who wished to attend. I'm also the longest serving board member at the Bannister Creek Primary School, where I serve as a community representative and assist with both school and local government matters. When Mayor Hall has asked, I've always stepped up, attending events and delivering messages on his behalf. Also, being a relief teacher, I have the flexibility and the time as I'm not beholden to any contract. Tonight, I believe there's much to gain by council by affording someone with a different set of experiences, ideas and community connections the opportunity to represent the city as the Deputy Mayor. Born at Bentley Hospital, raised in Wilson and living in Linwood with my family, it would be an absolute honour to serve you and the community in this privileged role. Thank you for considering me for this position. I hope that I will receive your support. And in closing, I'd also like to wish Ben and Joanne the best of luck too. Thank you, CEO.
Councillor Kunze.
Thank you, CEO. Good evening, everyone. It's quite humbling to sit here, speak to you all, to ask for your support, to be your Deputy Mayor once again. None of us expected to be here to decide this tonight. And I'd like to also start off by acknowledging and thanking Amanda Spencer-Teo, my former ward colleague and Deputy Mayor, for the outstanding job she did representing not just council, but us as our Deputy Mayor. Amanda's resignation doesn't just leave an empty seat. I know to many of you she was an experienced councillor that you sought advice and counsel from. Whilst the Deputy Mayor's primary role is to stand in and support the Mayor when he's unavailable, I believe that the Deputy Mayor performs an important role with being an independent voice on behalf of council, but also councillors. Whether it be to the Mayor, whether it be to the CEO and the administration, or whether it's just someone, an experienced councillor to speak to ask questions and guidance. As a councillor of almost 10 years experience now, I hope I've proven to you all that I'm always here should you need to pick up the phone and speak to me and ask questions. Having previously served as Canning's Deputy Mayor, I know I have the experience, the knowledge and the skill set to continue in this role. I'm the former Deputy Chair of Wowga South East Zone. I've sat on a number of committees and boards, including Riverton Primary School Board for 8 years. I've considerable experience chairing council meetings, including agenda briefings, ordinary council meetings, special council meetings. I've presided over citizenship ceremonies. I've represented Canning at external events from City of Stirling to Government House, and also at Canning's own civic events, Anzac Day and the Christmas carols, just to name a few. Only a few weeks ago, when the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor were unavailable, I was very happy to put my hand up and preside over the annual electors meeting with only a couple of hours' notice. I'm an active councillor. I'm very passionate about this role. I'm a long-time person of Canning and I've really enjoyed being a member of this council, and it would be a great thrill and honour to represent you all back in the leadership team here at the City of Canning. This is the most proactive, constructive and positive council that I've been involved in during my time here, and it would be a great honour to represent you again. I wish Mark and Joanne all the best and humbly ask for your support and thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kunze. Finally, Councillor Page.
Thank you everyone. And also, yes, I would like to thank Amanda Spencer-Teo for the efforts that she put in as Deputy Mayor. They are big shoes to fill. It's great, with great excitement and humility, that I sit before you today to nominate myself for the role of Deputy Mayor. I am deeply committed to our community, and I firmly believe that together we can build an even brighter future for Canning. I'm eager to take on the responsibility of this opportunity. As Deputy Mayor, my goal would be simple: to serve this community with integrity, transparency and a genuine desire to make a difference. Whether it's improving our local infrastructure, supporting our local businesses at Canning at Connect events and such, advocating for equitable opportunities or tackling environmental concerns, I will bring my enthusiasm and strong work ethic to this role. I've not missed a single agenda briefing or ordinary council meeting since starting on council. I regularly attend a wide variety of community events and have experience leading various meetings and large groups with my current and previous careers. I also bring a collaborative mindset and an unwavering dedication to the people of the city. I believe in leading with empathy and working with you all. My other work role has recently changed, so my patient load has been reduced and I have a lot more flexibility in my work day, with me now working from home 4 days a week and 1 day a week in clinic. So I'm in charge of my own schedule in that sense. If you grant me the honour of serving as your Deputy Mayor, I do so with accountability and a deep commitment to our shared values. I ask for your trust and support in this important journey, and I promise to work tirelessly to ensure our city continues to grow and flourish. So thank you for your time and consideration, and also I think any one of us here is going to do a really good job because this is a really, really great council and we all really care a lot. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Page, and I'd also like to congratulate and thank the three candidates for their nominations. I'm just holding it down, Joseph. Just keep holding it down. Look, we will be conducting tonight's vote through an optional preferential voting method, which is governed by our Act and legislation. Councillors are to vote by secret ballot as if they were electors voting at an election. Councillors are to vote for to vote in your order of preference for each of the candidates by identifying your preferred candidate as 1, the second as 2, and so on. You may vote for one candidate or you may vote for all candidates. So it is totally an optional process of voting. So you may vote for 1, 2, or all 3. Governance will now distribute a ballot paper. You will mark your ballot paper accordingly and then place your ballot paper in the ballot box. So, councillors, once all votes have been cast, the governance team and I will count the vote. So, please come up and cast your vote. Councillors, I can certify that we have received 10 votes. The count at first preference is Councillor Kunze has received 5 votes, Councillor Bain has received 3 votes, and Councillor Page has received 2 votes. Councillor Page will now be eliminated from the process and I'll redistribute her preferences. Thank you, councillors. I can advise that on distribution of the preferences of Councillor Page, that the vote is now tied, 5 for Councillor Bain and 5 for Councillor Kunze. What that will require now is an adjournment for 15 minutes. The adjournment is for a minimum of 15 minutes, a maximum of 7 days. I propose that we adjourn the meeting for 15 minutes. When we come back after 15 minutes, we will reopen nominations. I will seek confirmation from the 3 candidates that they would like their nominations to continue to be considered. You may choose to proceed, or you may choose to withdraw. There is also an opportunity that the legislation requires any other councillor may also nominate. So effectively, it's another nomination process, although the nominations from the 3 candidates we will obviously receive. They have been properly constituted and endorsed. So if you're wishing to proceed through the process, you can do that, or you can choose to withdraw. So with that, Mr Mayor, I would suggest that we adjourn the meeting for 15 minutes.
Councillors, in accordance with the standing orders, we will adjourn the meeting for no more than 15 minutes. I expect that we just retire to the Councillors' Lounge, and then we will see you back here at, 15 minutes from now. It's now 6:37, so let's make it 5:02. We'll make it 5:02. Thanks, councillors. Karen, can we just get the live stream on? Just let me know when it's on. Thank you for those at home. We're reconvening the meeting. The 15 minutes has expired. It's nearly 5:02. All councillors are now in attendance. I will pass back to our CEO. Thank you, Mr. Littleton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we'll now conduct a second election process. I will start by asking each of the current nominees to confirm their intent to continue through the process. So, Councillor Bain, Councillor Kunze, Councillor Page. Okay, thank you. So we now have two candidates. I will now ask for any further nominations from council. So given there are no further nominations, I formally close the nomination period for Deputy Mayor, with two candidates being Councillor Mark Bain and Councillor Ben Kunze. Obviously, there has already been an opportunity to speak, so we won't revisit that process. We will now conduct a further election with just Councillor Bain and Councillor Kunze as the two candidates. It is the same process. As we step forward, it is obviously what we're looking for is 50% of council plus one, and that will carry the vote. Thank you for your patience, councillors. What I can advise is in relation to the second count, both Councillor Bain and Councillor Kunze have each received 5 votes. On that basis, the election is drawn. In the event, or if after the second election no candidate is elected, that is a tied vote with each of the two continuing candidates receiving the same number of votes, the CEO will draw lots as required by Section 5, Section 6 of Schedule 4.1 of the Act, and in accordance with Regulation 75E and 75N of the regulations as follows. The candidates' names will be written on a slip and placed in the blue balls, with the blue ball sealed and placed in a box. The CEO will secure the box, shake and rotate the box. The CEO will open the box and take out one of the blue balls from the box, and the candidate whose name is written on the slip is in the drawn blue ball is elected to the office of Deputy Mayor. Bain. Councillor Kunze. After the process, what I can declare is that Councillor Mark Bain has been elected to the office of Deputy Mayor until the next local government elections in 2025. Congratulations to all candidates. Congratulations to Councillor Bain. The person elected by Council as Deputy Mayor is to make a declaration of the prescribed form before acting in the office. I now, in handing over to back to the Mayor, seek Councillor Bain to take the declaration of office.
And just thank you very much. And just for the record, Mark, if you could just read all of that, including that paragraph.
Certainly. Thank you, Mr Mayor. I, Mark Bain, of 10 Montrose Street, Linwood, having been elected to the office of Deputy Mayor of the City of Canning, declare that I take the office upon myself and will duly, faithfully, honestly and with integrity fulfil the duties of the office for the people in the district according to the best of my judgment and ability, and will observe the Code of Conduct adopted by the City of Canning under Section 5.104 of the Local Government Act 1995.
Thank you, Mark. I'll just ask you just to sign here, please. I'm just on that line, and then I'll countersign it. Congratulations, Deputy Mayor Mark. CEO, you're doing so well then up until shaking the balls, and then it all went pear-shaped. Councillors, I'd like to congratulate the City of Canning's new Deputy Mayor Mark Bain, and congratulate him. Mark, I look forward to working with you very closely over the next 2 years. I'd also like to just acknowledge... until October, sorry. It'll seem like 2 years working with me. Can I just acknowledge the other two candidates and say that I did have this conversation earlier in the week. It would have been wonderful if all three of you could have been deputy mayors, because that's the quality of the people that actually nominated tonight. I'm so pleased. It was mentioned earlier by a number of candidates what a wonderful council this city currently has, and we do have a very collegiate group of people around this room. It's a real pleasure to be the mayor, and I'm very proud to be in this position, but equally proud of the three of you tonight for having the courage to step forward as the deputy mayor. So well done to you all, and congratulations again, Mark. Thank you. Councillors, I'll ask you to turn your minds to page 6 of tonight's agenda. Page 6, item 13, reports. The first report being the report of Michael Littleton, the Offices of the CEO. It's OC 001 of 25. It's the election of the Deputy Mayor and appointment to committees of council. The council resolution slightly changed on the screen there. The council has conducted an election for the position of Deputy Mayor pursuant to section 2.3 of the Local Government Act, with Councillor Bain elected to the position of a Deputy Mayor. The council resolves that the seat vacated by Councillor Spencer Teo shall remain unfilled until the next local government elections in October 2025, subject to the approval of the Electoral Commission, and that council appoints a councillor or more to the city's Audit and Risk Committee, and also appoints a councillor to the city's CEO Performance and Salary Review Committee.
Appoints the deputy mayor because he's...
Just in relation, Deputy Mayor, to the CEO Performance and Salary Review Committee, just by make-up and the of the terms of reference there, you are by virtue a member of that. So it'll be appointing the Deputy Mayor, Mark Bain, to the CEO Performance and Salary Review Committee. I'd like to ask if anybody here would like to nominate for a seat on the city's Audit and Risk Committee in accordance with section 7.1A. We don't have to fill the position, but if anyone would like to nominate. Deputy Mayor, you'd like to nominate? Does anyone else wish to nominate for the Audit and Risk Committee? Deputy Mayor, that being the case, I think we will actually then pencil in the Deputy Mayor at item 4, Deputy Mayor at item 3. That will then read, councillors, as you would then know, we've conducted an election. The Deputy Mayor has been elected. The second part of the resolution is that council resolves not to fill that seat until at the October 2025 election, appoints Councillor Bain, the Deputy Mayor, to the city's Audit and Risk Committee, and appoints Councillor Bain, the Deputy Mayor, to the city's CEO Performance and Salary Review Committee. Can I have a mover, please, for the motion? Councillor Page, thank you. Councillor Rodriguez, you are our seconder. Councillor Page.
I support the officer's recommendation.
Thank you. Councillor Rodriguez.
I also support the recommendation.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against the recommendation? Councillors, just put the item to the vote, please. Thank you. The next item is OC 002 of... I'll call it, sorry. Getting a bit ahead of myself there, Karen, sorry. Karen, go ahead.
A motion OC 00125 has been carried by absolute majority with all 10 in favour.
Thank you, Governance. We move to OC 002 of 25, the title of the report being 2025 Local Government Ordinary Elections. The officer's recommendation is on screen. It also appears on page 11 of tonight's agenda. And councillors, this item requires an absolute majority. Can I have a mover, please, for this item? I'm happy to move it from the chair, and I will. Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Deputy Mayor, thank you. Councillors, I propose to support the officer's recommendation. I have no issue with the recommendation before us. It's necessary for us to conduct the election in a manner which is most supported by the community, and I feel at the moment, obviously, that would be in the manner prescribed by the recommendation. I don't wish to speak any further on it. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, I agree also and support the officer's recommendation, and look forward to the night and seeing if the WAC implements some of the comments and recommendations that the city put forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. Let's put the item to the vote.
Motion OC 00225 has been carried by absolute majority with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. The next item is OC 003 of 25. The title of the report being Elected Member Superannuation. The officer's recommendation is on page 21 of the agenda and is currently on screen. Can I have a mover, please, for that item? I'm happy to move it from the floor. Councillor Kunze, you will be the seconder. Councillors, I support the recommendation of the officer in relation to this matter. An absolute majority is required, if I didn't already say that. I'm pleased to see that this sector finally has caught up to most states in Australia that pay their elected members superannuation. People at home would be expecting that councillors should be paid superannuation like all other workers. We are not. There are a number of reasons why I support the motion. I think primarily is on the gender pay gap, and it's something I've been advocating for since 2021. There's a significant gender pay gap, especially around superannuation. And I think that we should be doing what we can to attract younger people into the public sector, particularly at local government level, but also encouraging young women to come into the sector. And I think by paying superannuation, we allow younger people, particularly women, to take on a significant role in the community, but to also, whilst they choose that role and commit themselves to it and treat it as part-time employment, to actually be able to also accrue superannuation like every other income taxpayer in Australia. And for people at home that don't realise, all councillors pay full income tax on all the allowances paid to us. So we already pay tax. We're treated in many respects as employees, yet for some anomaly in the Act, we have not been paid superannuation. I've had a number of dealings with the Minister over the item. Hannah Beasley, I congratulate her for pushing forward to introduce compulsory superannuation for Tier 1 and 2, Band 1 and 2 councils from October. The reason why it is compulsory from that date, but councils like ours are allowed to transition towards it now, is it was an understanding that some councils had not budgeted for the payment of superannuation, and those councils may have differing resources and choose not to actually adopt superannuation because it hadn't been budgeted as a line item. The second reason was, of course, the Minister is keen to make sure that all councillors that come on after the next election are paid superannuation from day one. So like many things we've done on this council, we are transitioning to superannuation, and many other councils are doing the same thing at their February elections. Last week, the City of Gosnells adopted a superannuation. The town of Victoria Park, our two neighbouring councils, now both have superannuation for their elected members. And I think that this is fair and equitable and would be wholly supported by the community as a sensible way forward for a group of people that work particularly hard in the community, pay full income tax on the allowances provided to us, yet do not attract superannuation. I think it's about time, and I think people would wholly support it. Councillor Kunze.
Thank you, Mayor Hall. Yes, I support the officer's recommendation. Australia obviously went down this policy route many decades ago to put aside funds from our working careers into superannuation to help fund our retirement, and it's been inconsistent that everyone in local government receives superannuation paid except elected members, which actually don't receive that much compared to what we invest into the role. And it's entirely appropriate and consistent for elected members to receive superannuation just as the rest of the workforce does. And it's, as the Mayor's pointed out, this is a decision by the Parliament of Western Australia. It is a law now. It's just the major stipulation is when it comes into effect. given this has been flagged by the Minister previously, we've budgeted and put aside funds. So I think it's entirely appropriate that we pass the recommendation that is to pay super as from February, and there'll be a unspent funds with respect to the funds that were put aside for July to February that we will deal with at another point in time. But I fundamentally agree with this, and I hope that Council does too.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against the item? Thank you, councillors. We shall put the item to the vote.
Motion OC 00325 has been carried by absolute majority with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. CC 001 of 25 is the next item. It's item 13.2 on the agenda. The responsible officer being Miss Lorraine Driscoll, the Director of Corporate and Commercial, and the title of the report is the Rostrata Family Centre Change to Leasing Arrangements. The officer's recommendation appears on screen. Thank you, Governance. It also appears on page 26 of the agenda. Whoops, hang on a sec. I apologise, councillors, my phone is on tonight only because my father's had a major stroke and is in hospital, and I need to be fully accessible to the hospital, so I apologise for that. The recommendation, as I said, is on page 26. Can I have a mover for the item? That would be Councillor Kunze, and a seconder. Councillor Second, thank you. Councillor Kunze, I understand you have an amendment you'd like to put.
Yes, I will be moving a slight amendment. Look, I speak in favour of the officer recommendation. Would you like me to move the amendment now?
Yeah, I think so, yes.
All right, the amendment would be to add to the end of part 1, would be subject to the term of lease being amended from 5 years to 10 years and the 5-year option being removed.
Can we deal with the matter of the amendment first?
Yep.
Can I just ask for a seconder in relation to the amendment? Councillor Second, thank you. Councillor Kunze, continue. Just in relation to the amendment.
So the amendment I've put forward doesn't impact the city in terms of what we were seeking to deliver with the terms and conditions of the lease. So effectively, the city was offering a 5-year lease with an option of a 5-year extension. We have a clause, a 12-month clause that allows the city to exercise its right if it deems it wants to end the lease, and this is something we haven't had in the past. We've also had more discretion with the options, but whilst we as a City of Canning looks at the 5+5 as effectively a 10-year lease, it impacts semantics from our side, from the Rostrata Family Centre side. They, every 5 years, as I alluded to last week through my questioning, have to seek a new funding agreement through the state government, and they get a 5-year funding agreement to deliver many of the services that they deliver. In going through that period, or going through that process, they need to basically provide some sort of security of tenure and show the state government that they'll be there and able to deliver the services. In having a 10-year lease with no options, it gives them more security in terms of getting grant funding, and that's not just their state government ongoing funding, it's also smaller capital grants and so forth. The fact that they can point to the fact that they've got a 10-year lease provides them with far more security, but from our perspective it doesn't change that much. As I mentioned, we have a 12-month clause and the capacity to deal with it, so we've got our security and they just want some more. So I've put this amendment forward and I hope that you can support it, and it will relieve some of the anxiety that the Rostrata Family Centre has.
Thank you. Councillor Second, did you wish to speak in support of just the amendment, which is to change it from 5+5 to 10 years?
Rostrata Family Centre has been the heart of our community for over 30 years. When my husband's family first migrated to Perth more than 3 decades ago, he at that time attended some classes there. Today, it continues to offer a wide range of programs for all ages, from pre-kindy and playgroups to school-age activities like music, painting, karate, public speaking, as well as adult programs including seniors activities, Tai Chi, and culturally and linguistically diverse language schools. This centre plays a vital role in connecting our community, bringing together people of all generations and fostering a strong sense of belonging and inclusivity. In a beautiful full circle moment, my son has recently started guitar lessons at the centre, taught by Mr. Tim Flanders, a very local Rostrata coach who himself attended pre-kindy there nearly 30 years ago. Facilities like Rostrata Family Centre are rare and invaluable, providing much needed opportunities for local families to learn, grow and connect. With that said, I will be seconding Councillor Kunze's motion today to ensure the smooth transition for this valuable community facility. With the proposed amendment of a 10-year rather than a 5+5 lease, this will give Rostrata Family Centre some certainty moving forward and the ability to apply for funding for future programs. Thank you.
Thank you. Just before we proceed, CEO, can I just ask you a question? I obviously saw this in the lead up to the to tonight's meetings. Does the city have any concerns in relation to the amendment? There's no inadvertent consequences. Are there inadvertent consequences?
No, the city is supportive. We have no issues with the proposed amendment. Ms Driscoll has identified that the recommendation from the officers is consistent with our policy, but Councillor Kunze is correct. We do have a 12-month provision in the lease, so there is no real concern with the proposed amendment.
Thank you. We're just dealing with the amendment at the moment. Councillors, does anyone wish to speak against the amendment or to it? Thank you. Can we just put the amendment to the vote, please? Thank you, Governance.
The amendment to CC00 125 has been carried with all 10 in favour.
Thank you, councillors. We then move back to the substantive motion, of which Councillor Kunze was the mover and Councillor Sekon was the seconder. Councillor Kunze, the floor is yours if you wish to speak to the motion proper.
Thank you. I will speak to it. I know there's a bit of anxiety at the Rostrata Family Centre because this project, whilst they've come to council a number of times over years, they're very conscious that that council changes in its makeup, and so some councillors might not actually be too aware of what the Family Centre does. The Rostrata Family Centre have been at Prenwick Reserve for over 30 years. They're a not-for-profit. Everything that they earn goes into the functions of the Family Centre. A number of years ago, council made the decision to invest significantly into the facility. It's going through 2 stages. The first stage was to build an area for the early kindy to free up some space within the family centre and help it deliver more services. Whilst that was great, regrettably, the amount of space it provided wasn't enough. The facility is 30 years old, and the council subsequently agreed to invest more into providing a more substantial expansion. So the expansion not only provides better capacity to deliver the services they already have, like if you went there under the old facility, they would have 2 services running concurrently in a room that was separated by a, I don't even know the name of it, it escapes my mind. Yeah, Petition, but it wasn't noise proof, so you could hear exactly what was happening in the other service, and it was quite dysfunctional at times. But they deliver very important services, not just to Willetton, but to the wider Canning community. They've got the Australian Breastfeeding Association, they've got child health nurses, they've got a number of services from young people to old people and everywhere between that they deliver services both themselves. So they get the funding through a state government funding agreement that they deliver services to the community, but they also provide a home to other groups such as the Canning Community Computer Club and a whole litany of service providers that need a home. And what they do, we would do ourselves a lot of it. But if they close their doors tomorrow, the services that they provide directly, we probably would struggle to provide some of those services. We would need to find a new home, probably with the same facility, but it would be quite a disruption to our ratepayers that we support, who support us. And so the Rostrata Family Centre does important work delivering to our community, working in partnership, but we haven't had that formal partnership with them until now. So I really hope that this formalisation of the partnership delivers even better outcomes for the community. It's with deep regret that the state government is withdrawing out of this space. The reason my amendment I felt was quite important is the centre has had quite a lot of disruption in the last decade as the state government's tried to move out of providing these leases and at times providing funding for these sort of community centres. And that falls to local governments. Some centres and some other local governments haven't continued, which is a detriment to their community. And so if we can provide a bit of support as we have with this massive investment into the capital build, but provide more with respect to a formal partnership, and it would deliver even better for our community. But I'd also like to say that there is a bit of anxiety about the additional costs that the city, that the centre will have to make up, that some of it was absorbed by the state government previously. I take great comfort in what has been proposed in terms of staff working on the committee for 12 months, well, into perpetuity. You're not leaving, Director Fisher, if that's you. And providing that sort of oversight and assistance, and also if it doesn't go the way they want, the city has the capacity to look at ways that we might be able to support the centre in the future. But I think it's a great outcome for the centre and a great outcome for the local community, and I hope that council can support this lease.
Thank you, Councillor Kunze. Councillor Second, did you have anything else you'd like to add?
I echo everything that Councillor Kunze had said, and nothing to add. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against the motion? Councillors, in the absence of anyone wishing to speak against it, I think we might just put the matter to the vote. Thank you.
Substantive motion is amended for CC 00125 has been carried unanimously with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. The next item, councillors, is CC 002 of 25, monthly financial report for November 2024. The recommendation is on page 41 of tonight's agenda and is also on screen. Thank you, Governance. Can I have a mover, please, for the officer's recommendation? Deputy Mayor, thank you. Councillor Seconder, you are the seconder. Councillor Bain.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I support the officer's recommendation. Just a quick question, if I may. I note that a draft concept plan has been put forward by Emerge for the Kent Street Weir precinct. Are elected members able to view that at some stage? Thank you.
Director Bowe.
Yes, absolutely, Mr Mayor. When it's submitted for further review, we'll be able to brief the elected members on the status of that.
Thank you. Just in relation to the motion, Councillor Second, did you wish to add anything?
No, I have nothing to add. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against the item? Thank you, Councillor. Let's put the matter to the vote.
Motion CC 00225 has been carried unanimously with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. We move to CC 003 of 25, and that's the monthly financial report for December 2024. The officer's recommendation is on screen. It also appears on page 82 of tonight's agenda. Can I have a mover, please, for this motion? Deputy Mayor, thank you. A seconder? Councillor Second, thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I support the officer's recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Second?
I support the officer's recommendation and have nothing to add. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak or speak against the item? Thank you. We'll put it to the vote.
Motion CC 00325 has been carried unanimously with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. We move to the Directorate of Mr Graham Bride, the Director of Planning and Development. We're at item 13.3. It's PD 001 of 25. The title of the report is Scheme Amendment number 17 to Local Planning Scheme number 42, Proposed Additional Use in brackets Medical Centre, close brackets number 12, in brackets Lot 210, close brackets Robbins Place in Shelley. Just to note that attachment 1 of PD 001 of 25 incorrectly lists the subject property as being at 17 Robbins Place. and that should instead read 12 Robbins Place. Attachment 1 will be corrected when the minutes of tonight's meeting are published. The officer report and recommendation are unaffected by this change. Can I have a mover, please, for the item? The recommendation is on page 121 of the agenda. Mover, please. Councillor Kunze, thank you. A seconder. Deputy Mayor, thank you. Councillor Kunze.
Support the officer recommendation.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, I support the standard scheme amendment. Thank you.
Does anyone wish to speak against the item? Thank you, councillors. Let's put it to the vote. Just missing one. There we go.
Motion PD 001-25 has been carried unanimously with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. The next item on tonight's agenda is 13.4, the Directorate of Mr Warren Bowe, the Director of Infrastructure and Environment. The report is IE 001 of 25. The report title is RFQ FM.037.320, replacement of 5 times side loaders for waste management services. The officer's recommendation is on page 130 of tonight's agenda and also on screen. Can I have a mover, please, for this item? Councillor Page, thank you. A seconder. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Page.
I support the officer's recommendation. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, I support the officer's recommendation in the upgrading of our waste fleet. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against the item? Thank you. With no one wishing to speak against the item, councillors, I propose to put it to the vote. Thank you, Governance.
Motion IE 001-25 has been carried unanimously with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. Item 13.5 on tonight's agenda is from the Director of Mr Gary Fisher. There are no reports from that Directorate. At item 14, motions of which previous notice has been given, there are none. Item 15, urgent business. There are no items of urgent business on tonight's agenda. Item 16, confidential matters. Similarly, there are no items of confidentiality. And at item 17, closure, I again congratulate the Deputy Mayor on his election and propose to, there being no further business, propose to declare the meeting closed, the time being 7:31 p.m. Thank you all for your attendance. Good night, everyone.